setiap rencanamu dan rancanganmu yang mulia. Dalam satu tubuh kami bersatu menjadi duta kerajaanmu. Ku ucapkan berkat atas Malaysia, biar kemuliaan Tuhan akan nyata. Bagi bangsa ini kami berdiri dan membawa doa kami kepadamu. Sesuatu yang besar pasti terjadi dan mengubahkan negeri kami. Hanya namamu Tuhan ditinggikan atas seluruh bumi. Kami rindu melihat Malaysia pulih dari semua kesukaran, hidup dalam jalan kebenaran-Mu, pancarkan terang kemuliaan-Mu. Ku ucapkan berkat atas Malaysia, biar kemuliaan
Merdeka! Merdeka!
Good evening, dear viewers and listeners. AMEIA, in collaboration with Catholics at Home, welcomes you to yet another edition of a 7-week series on world religions. And today, our conversation will be on Hinduism with Muralidharan and Yaneswari. For those who are very enthusiastic about tonight's episode, get your hot drink ready by your side. But those who are not so, a glass of warm water will do. Okay? Without any delay, I call upon Father Clarence, our moderator for this evening, to get the show going. Father Clarence.
Hi, Father Xavier. Good evening to you.
Evening, Father.
How are you?
Good, great.
So how have these conversations been going? I mean, you are the ecclesiastical assistant for AMEIA. Do you think that you are achieving at least some targets that you have set, some objectives you have set?
Yes, sure. It has been very delightful to hear, and in fact, from the first day, first episode till now, very forthcoming the response from people, and some people, or rather some viewers who are not even not from Catholic background, from other faiths, have also responded well, and they have given me good feedback. Some have called me, and I'm really very happy. And even from our Catholics themselves, there are many enthusiastic souls who are watching, and probably they are also following the rest of the series. So I'm very pleased, Father Clarence, for this feedback that has come from people.
Yeah.
And I
Now,
think, sorry.
No, I've been looking at some of the comments that people have been putting.
Right.
Some people have been asking, why is it that the Catholic Church is engaging in all these conversations? Shouldn't it be promoting the gospel more? And I think one of the things I think we have to bear in mind that we live in an environment where we relate with everyone, and the gospel is the good news, and the good news is shared with everyone. And a conversation like this is indeed an opportunity to build bridges, to understand one another better, and also to promote peace, to promote respect and harmony amongst our people. So, just to be clear that we are not negating, or we are not that we are not promoting what we are called to as the good news, but good relations is also a prerequisite for the good news. That's the foundation, isn't it, Father Xavier? That's what you do in AMEIA also.
Precisely, Father. You have explained it very well, because I didn't want to repeat what I have repeated last 2 weeks, because most viewers might be coming back again. But you have given the gist of what AMEIA stands for. Precisely, AMEIA is just to forge relationships and understanding. And I tell our Catholics also, one of the reasons why we're having this program is to get to know the other in a more cordial way. And one of the best things to do that is precisely to understand what the faith holds in their respective religions, and that's how it is. And the beautiful thing about this is we are having a conversation. It is not giving a teaching, and a conversation is something which is very cordial, where we are able to exchange views. And I think that is a good platform where we could go on this show. And that's a beautiful thing where we have embarked on, and I'm happy, and I continue to look forward to the coming ones as well, right from today itself. Yeah, I'm already excited about the next one and the next one.
Though we call this podcast Catholics at Home, we know in the last 2 weeks, and this is the third week, we have people from all different faiths also tuning in to this conversation. And I think this is a nice way of helping others also to begin these conversations in their own platforms. We don't have sole proprietorship in terms of having this conversation. So we'd like to welcome also a lot of other people from other faiths. I know my friends who have been saying that they have been tuning in to have an understanding. We welcome you, and we also would like to encourage you to also replicate this, to have these conversations in smaller groups, in different groups. The more conversations we have, the more peace and harmony we are going to promote. So now, these days, of course, with online, it's become almost borderless, isn't it, Father Xavier? The conversations are no longer constrained by location. It's all about, accessibility to everyone. So this evening, we have two great speakers, I'm sure. We have met them. We'd like to bring them in. We'd like to bring in Murali and Yanis into our conversation. This evening, this is our third conversation in a seven-series part seven-part series of Understanding World Religions. Welcome. Good evening, Yaniswari and Muralidharan. Welcome to Catholics at Home podcast, Understanding World Religions.
Thank you, Father. Thank you. Good evening, fathers.
Good evening, Father. Thank you.
It's a great honor for us to have the both of you to be able to join us this evening for this very brief conversation. I know some of people have been saying that, in an hour, what can we know? What can we know? Of course, it takes a lifetime to know any religion, isn't it? I mean, it's not in 1 hour for any religion. It's a lifetime learning. But if we can sow some seeds, I think that's the beginning for it to grow. And if we understand better, we also learn to respect one another better. Before we proceed, would you like to, I know you have a long list of affiliations or associations that you belong to, but very briefly, would you like to introduce yourself? So maybe ladies first. Would you like to just introduce yourself and which organization do you come from? Just a little bit about yourself.
Tiruchitrambalam. First of all, thank you for the great opportunity for us to present this about our Hinduism. Okay, myself, Nyaneshwari Selvakumar. I'm the head of our religious department in Malaysia Hindu Sangam Banting Local Council. Thank you.
Welcome, Nyaneshwari. Murali?
Thank you, Father. My name is Muralidharan Paramaswa. I'm the head of religious bureau for Malaysia Hindu Sangam for Selangor State. And also, I'm the chairman of the Malaysia Hindu Sangam Kajang Local Council.
So it looks like we have the right people in the right place to have the right conversation. Both of you are involved in MHS. I used to be involved in MCC BHST. I have some friends also in MHS. Greetings to them if they are listening to us also.
Sure.
When we talk about different religions, of course, one of the first things that we often ask is that, what are the basic tenets? What are the basic principles of faith or religion? Maybe Murali, you would like to start us with that. What are some of the basic beliefs of Hinduism that is universal, worldwide? Anywhere you go, you will see quite similar things.
Yeah. Thank you, Father, for the question. Richard Trambalam. So, Father, if you notice Hinduism, as we know that Hinduism, it is not an organized religion. We don't call it as an organized religion, and has no single or systematic approach to teaching its value system. Nor do Hindus have a simple set of rules to follow, like we have like other local, regional, in the community, driven practices influence the interpretation and practices, beliefs throughout the Hindu world. You have a different interpretation. But yet, we have some common beliefs. We call it as well. Anywhere, if you go, let's say you go to Australia, if you go Russia, anywhere, if you talk about Hinduism, these are the core beliefs that we have. One of it is like among all these variations is a belief that we believe in a supreme being. There's only one God. We believe in that, and adherence to a certain concepts, such as truth, dharma, and karma. These are the three major things that we believe in: the truth, and dharma, and karma. So some of the so-called like key beliefs are: truth is eternal. We call it as a truth is eternal. So we Hindus pursue knowledge and understanding of the truth, the very essence of the universe and the only reality. According to our Vedas, we have holy scriptures, the truth is one. We call it like a absolute truth. Truth is one, but the wise express it in a variety of ways. That is what is written in our Veda, the Rig Veda, we call it. And then, of course, we have the concept of Brahman. Brahman is truth and reality, we call it. So Hindus believe in Brahman. As I said, is only one. God is one. So Brahman is the one true God who is formless. We believe that is formless, limitless, and all inclusive and eternal. And Brahman is not an abstract concept, but it is a real entity that encompasses everything. So that's what we believe. So it's like seen and unseen, and in the universe. And the other is the Vedas. We have our Vedas. So we believe that Vedas are the ultimate authority for Hinduism. So the Vedas are the Hindu scriptures that contains revelations that received by ancient saints and sages. Hindus believe that the Vedas are without beginning. There is no beginning, and without the end. So when everything else in the universe is destroyed at the end of the cycle of time, that what we believe, the Vedas remain. And of course, the other belief is that everyone should strive to achieve dharma. Dharma is the what is right and what is wrong. So we believe that we Hindus should be doing only the right things, not things right. So we believe that if you do the things, the right things, everything will fall into place. So we understand the concept of dharma. So if you want to understand the Hindu faith, you have to understand the concept of dharma, and that's the one. And of course, the other one is like individual souls are immortal. We call it like souls are immortal. It will take a different journey, but it cannot be destroyed. You see. So these are the some of the key beliefs, and of course the final, I mean, for the time being, the final one, or the is the goal of the individual soul is to attain moksha. So that is the our end, what we
So
call the outcome.
we will come back to that, because we will
Yeah.
talk a little bit about the concept of life and death, and after death, at least earthly death, what happens, and then probably we'll
Right.
talk a little bit about the soul. But coming back to your first point, Murali, about Brahman, you said Brahman is the truth. Okay, firstly, you must excuse my ignorance if I use the wrong terminology, with
No worries.
no malice, no disrespect to anyone.
Yes, of course.
But also, what we see, because we say Brahman is the one God, but we also see in Hinduism temples that are devoted to different gods. There are different gods. So the concept of a god or many gods, and is there a hierarchy of gods in the whole idea of Hinduism?
Okay. Yeah, Father, we do receive this question. So many, so like Hinduism, you're following a different gods and so on. But actually, as I said now, in our Rig Veda, our scripture, the Rig Veda, in the Rig Veda, it's already said. I would like to quote what is written in the Rig Veda. It says that Ekam Sat Vipruha Bahunda Vadanti. This is Sanskrit. So Ekam Sat. Ekam means is one in Sanskrit. And Sat means is the absolute truth. We call it, that's why sometimes you notice in Hinduism will say Satchitan, and Sat means it's absolute truth. So we believe that the God is only one. It is the absolute truth. But as I said, the Vipruha Bahunda Vadanti means the learned or the wise call it in a different names. So it is like it started with one. So we believe that Parabrahma, we call it a Parabrahma. Parabrahma is the absolute one. And from him or her, because we don't explain it as like a him or her, because it's like we don't know the gender and so on. So from there, you have a different forms. So it is like from one, it takes different forms and a different nature and different. So we call it. So that's why in our Hinduism we have like three types, or we call it three levels of understanding the God, the philosophy of God. The first one is formless. That is what we call the absolute truth. That is the eternal one, the para Brahman we call it. After that, there is another one is formless form. We call it formless form. Aruba Ruba, we call it in Tamil or Sanskrit. Means that it has some kind of like a structure, but there is no like a clear definition of something, a creature like a human or anything. So for example, like if you look at the Shivaling in Hinduism, we look at the Shivaling. Shivaling is actually a represent of Parabrahman, the Shiva, the Lingam. It is known as a formless form. But the third one is with form. So this with form actually is the one, it depends on our understanding. We believe that it depends on different understanding how you take it as the Parabrahman. So the Parabrahman is like not like someone who sits at the top and they don't connect with the people. So we believe that it connects with all the creatures. Yeah. For example, before I end the answering this question, it's like imagine you're talking about electricity, like a current. See, so the source is only one. The electricity from hydroelectric, from anywhere, the source is only one. But when it comes to TV, it become, the TV is functioning. When it comes to aircon, the aircon is functioning. When it comes to fan is functioning. So it's same thing. The source is one. But when it comes to different nature and different, based on our understanding, it changes nature to suit to our knowledge and the maturity. Hope I understand. I mean, I explain it.
Thank
Maybe,
you.
thank you very much, Murali. Maybe I would like to direct this question to Jnanaswari. You see, this all happens even at home. At home, when we have misunderstandings between husband and wife, there may be conflict, and children and parents, and all this, on all sphere of life, it happens. It is also not spared, I think, even in religion. So maybe, if I may want to ask you, if I may want to ask you, what are some of the misconceptions that surround Hinduism? About Hinduism, people have at least three, maybe there'll be more, I suppose. Maybe you could just share with us maybe three misconceptions about Hinduism that you may have heard or you've come across very often. Maybe, Jnanaswari, you can share with us.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the question actually. See, this is a great way for me to answer the misconception of the Hinduism first, because before we understand the Hinduism, they have to know what are the misconception about the Hinduism we are receiving. Okay, I just explain very simple with the 3 points of misconception. First, what I went through is Hinduism isn't a relevant religion. Okay, why we having that kind of misconception? Because Hinduism is one of the world's largest religion. And there are 1 billion believers and we are still counting, because it's founded nearly 8,000 years ago. So I feel like the whole idea in as though the Christian believe that Hindus stole that idea, the story of Lord Krishna came before that of Chris concept of eternal truth that before that Murli explained, through the accounts of divinity were first recorded by Hindus. So all in all, Hinduism has had an impact on the world as it has shaped policies of various medium of spirituality. Okay, second will be the Hinduism is a polytheistic religion. Okay, actually it's not. It's a rumor that Hindus worship 330 millions of gods, or maybe more than that, but it's simply not true. Maybe there are a lot of devas, spiritual beings. It's believed that God can come in many different manifestation, and that God exists in all form of life and in the universe, only one universe, as before this Murli and X explained. Third one will be Hinduism endorsed the caste system. It means that way back when a group of rich and upper caste priests decided to make a social hierarchy system, maybe in those days, not now. It's not a rule, but it's kind of understanding. So these are the main misconception about Hinduism that maybe I heard and I went through.
Thank you, Jnanaswari. Thank you for that Beautiful summarized summary. You have summarized it in few minutes. You have summarized the whole thing. Yeah. In fact, around surrounding this is also the concept, the understanding of rites, ritual, and practices. Maybe when you spoke about so many deities and devas, and like you mentioned, so many millions of them. So people have so many ways of approaching God, and that's why there are a lot of rites, rituals, and practices. And morally, maybe you could share with us what every Hindu is expected to participate in. The main way of participation, because there are so many ways of participation. But what are the thrust of your participation? Example, worship in the temple and fasting, etc. Those things are there. Maybe you could share with us on that, morally.
Yeah, Father. If we look at it, the Hindus simply, there is no, as I just now explained, there is no like one standard set of rules that everybody has to follow this, because Hindus believe that the experience, the God or the religion is a very personal, and it differs from one to another. That is how we experience when we recorded our the stories of our saints and sages. It's all different. The God comes in a different form to to um, nature you, to make you mature, and then to bring together with Him. But the thing is, there are some fundamental things that we Hindus have to follow. For example, I say that we call it this as a samskaras in a Sanskrit term. So we call it samskaras. Samskaras means it's a duties or some rituals that you have to follow. So we actually have 40 duties or 40 principles or 40 samskaras, 40. But among the 40, so one, you have to actually follow all these 40, but to a certain extent, there are the major 16 samskaras that you have to follow throughout your life. And these 16 samskaras are being like arranged according to the different phases of your life. For example, the 16, it starts with the first one. It starts with Garbhadan. We call it like Garbhadan. Garbhadan means to start with our soul that in the womb, inside, inside the womb. So it started some rituals from there. Then after that, the third month, so we have it that. Then we have seventh month. Then after birth, after that you starting your your education, your formal education, and so on. So we have 16 up to until the death. So the death will be the final ritual that you have to follow. So these basically are the 16 rituals or practices that you have to follow, apart from other the normal one that you have to pray. We actually Hindus supposed to pray for 6 times in a day. uh, that is what is written in our scriptures. It should be, we should be praying 6 times. But as I said, um, because of certain evolution and certain differences, so it says at least you have to pray twice in a day. So that's why normally you see the morning and the evening. But if you goes to temple, you will be like going through 6 times, and that is the prayers. And after that, it is like fulfill your dharma is also a part of ritual. We call it like fulfill your dharma is also part of ritual. These are what I can say. The rituals are same, regardless of your deity or regardless of what you look at it. But these are the fundamentals that you have to follow.
So when you talk about things that you need to do, of course, every religion encourages you to do certain things.
Yeah.
But in the same way, there are also things that that you are restricted from doing. You cannot do. Are there some very clear guidelines in the scriptures about things that a Hindu should not do? I know there are many things we should not do, but at least for somebody who wants to follow this path,
Right.
these are the things that are prohibited.
Correct, Father, because we do have that so-called like a restriction, like do's and don'ts. We call it in Hinduism. It is in our scriptures. It is written because we have a different type of scriptures. See, so one of it has already give us the set of rules that we have to follow, and and some of it I can highlight here. One of it is like. It very general and universal kind of rules. You see, one of it is like not allow, for us Hindus, we don't allow to kill a cow, as it is considered as one of the biggest sin, for example, for us, because we believe that cow is equivalent to a mother. Cow is like it's like giving milk, and it's help us in our daily thing. So if we look at cow as equivalent to our mother, that we gives milk and so on. So that's why we say it's the biggest sin. Another one is like, of course, it's like normal to all the religion is the same, like forbidden for both man and woman to have any kind of relationship outside of marriage. This is a very common principle. And of course, premarital sex is not allowed for both man and woman. As I said, these are some universal general rules. See, and those days we have those days, those don'ts. The women are not allowed to enter temples during menstruation. So this is still being practiced. It is not about this one. This is not about something, say that gender bias and so on. It's just to give comfort to the woman. And those days, you see, when those days you don't have a proper clothing and so on. So that is some of the idea behind it. And of course, it's like no one is allowed to kill innocent people. Hurting physically and emotionally is considered as one of the sin in Hinduism. You always will be right in thoughts, words, and actions. Food should not be wasted. The elders, including parents and teachers, should not be disrespected even by mistakes. Animals should not be misbehaved. All these are general, universal, some truth. Why? Because we believe that in everything, even including the animals and everything, the Brahman is there. Because, as I said, the absolute truth is only one. So when the Supreme Being is only one, everything else comes from the Supreme Being. So it is like I take part of it and I created an animal. I take part of it, I created humans. It is like that. So everything comes from the Supreme Being. So if you are hurting something or somebody, means that you are actually hurting the Creator. So that is the general idea, the restrictions, Father.
Yeah, I'm just going to connect it a little bit about what you said about how the Brahman is existent in everything. Does that also kind of restrict in terms of what people can eat? Of course, we all know that the cow is a sacred animal, and Hindus do not participate in that. But about other animals, is there some kind of restriction? Is that seen in a different light in terms of food restrictions?
Yes,
I know.
Father.
Like some of my friends are purely vegetarian, and some of them are not purely vegetarian. Some are very strict. They don't take a lot of things. Even so, is there some kind of a difference in terms of the way people practice their faith, especially with regard to food?
Yes, Father. When it comes to fruits, as I said, that generally, all the Hindus are required to be a vegetarian. Means that because, as I said, we believe in ahimsa. We call it ahimsa. It's non-killing. That means that you don't kill. So when you're talking about, let's say, even a chicken, if I want to talk about chicken, is also killing an animal. So we believe that we don't have a rights to, kill an animal the created by the Creator. But over the years, things change, and it depends. As I said, it depends on a personal,
Individual, yeah.
individuality. But generally, the vegetarianism is because it's nothing. It's more about the concept rather than it's about the requirement. Because the concept is that when you are a vegetarian, because you are required to be vegetarian, because normally when we eat meat and so on, we believe that the characters or the so-called like you will intend to become like one of it, because the nature will adopt to you.
Sure.
And we believe that when you, let's say, you eat this kind of things, then you won't be having that self-control. Because for Hindus, we believe that you have to control all of your emotions. We call it all the emotions, emotions and yourself and everything. You have to be in a very disciplined way in order to attain moksha. That's why we see some of our saints, our sages, even now, if you look at them, there will be only tapas, the meditated level. So they will only meditate and they don't eat, they don't take water, anything, because they believe that even that will influence the character of themselves. So that's why they prefer to be vegetarian rather than in this thing. But as I said, it's very personal thing, because we have
Sure.
stories, our saints who have actually, like, for example, we have the story of Kannappa Nayanar, we call it. This man actually served pork meat to Shiva. We have the story, but Shiva didn't, penalize him. Shiva embraced him, and that is the stories we have. As I said, it depends on how you presented yourself to the god, not about much on restrictions.
Yeah.
Now, coming back to something a bit more practical, in the sense that in Malaysia, we all like public holidays. We want public holidays for everything. We win one medal in the Olympics, we want a public holiday. We win an election, we want a public holiday. So we are kind of driven by public holidays, and
Yes.
a lot of religious public holidays are enjoyed by everyone, even without knowing the reasons why we have this holiday. I just want to get to help us understand that there are two main holidays, at least for the Hindus. One is Deepavali, the other one is Thaipusam.
Thaipusam.
Okay. Apart from the fact that everybody probably on those days, at least for the non-Hindus, will probably sleep in late morning, but help us understand what these feasts are about. Maybe I could bring in Gnaneshwari first to help us understand the Deepavali, the festival of lights. What is the significance of it for Hindus? And then I want to ask Murali a little bit about Thaipusam.
Okay, Father. Okay, actually, as Father told just now, Deepavali is a festival of lights. Okay, it means that we celebrate the lights over the darkness, good over evil, and wisdom over ignorance. That's the main thing for the Deepavali. We celebrate it. So many tales are associated with the festival of lights, which is celebrated between mid-October and mid-November. Observed by more than 1 billion of people across faiths, this festival of lights brings like prayers, feasts, fireworks, and for some it's a new year. Some kind of so it's a new year. Okay, Deepavali also is the India's most important festival of the year. I'm just mentioning that. A time to celebrate the triumph of the light over darkness and knowledge over ignorance and good over evil. That's the main thing we celebrate in the Deepavali. So I hope this simple thing can make you understand about
So
Deepavali.
just to extend a little bit. So what is the requirement? For example, I mean, everybody will go to the temple. How do we celebrate? Of course, in Malaysia, when we celebrate, it's always about makan, all about cookies, isn't it? In Malaysia, but apart from that, like people go to the temple in the morning first. Is there a family gathering together? How is it celebrated? At least in your family, maybe in your family.
Okay. Mainly, we will be concerning on the prayers and family unity. So where the unity, maybe like we will be in studies for in maybe different countries. We'll be working abroad. So the Deepavali brings everyone gathered together. So they will take leave maybe 1 week ago. So we will gather, clean the house together. We do the cooking at the house. As a father told, early morning we'll go to the temple. We do our prayers in the house. Also, we'll do the prayers. We'll do the prayers in the house, and we go to the temple. After that, we will have the as usual the feast, and the main thing we will be having sweets. The famous food will be murku, as a father knows. Hopefully, okay. So sweets and also all kind of favorite foods that, especially our old people, like maybe our grandparents, our mother. So they will preparing the favorite foods for the children's lah. So that will be the main thing will be the togetherness for the family members. Yeah.
No, I think it's important for people to know, because we don't want to associate any celebration with just food, because the thing, if Murukku is there, then it's Deepavali. But now it's so universal. Every other religion also
Yes.
they celebrate their feast. They have Murukku, they have Achi Murukku, they have all kinds of Indian delicacies. So Malaysia, we are quite muhiba already when it comes to. So there's nothing so unique in the sense that only once you will have. Everybody has. Murali, if I may come to you a little bit.
Yes, Father.
Thaipusam, now that is a big celebration also here in Malaysia. Especially, a lot of people go to Batu Caves. Help us understand a little bit about Thaipusam, because what we see is that, of course, the sacrifices that people make. I see people who do body piercing, people who do processions barefooted, carrying milk, and different things. Help us understand the feast and the concept of penance in the celebration of Thaipusam.
Okay. Thaipusam, Father, is a combination of the name and the month. Thai. Thai is a month in our calendar, our Hindu calendar. Thai, and then the name of the star of the day, because every day we believe that there is a star. When we talk about that, so the star on the day is the name Pusam. So when you combine Thaipusam means is the name of the star plus the name of the star on the day of the day. So that is what we call Thaipusam, and this particular star is at the highest point during the festival. So particularly, it will be at the highest during the festival, and the festival commemorates the occasion. This is like we call it a Puranam. Purana means it's like stories, the tales, the spiritual tales, spiritual stories. Is that the occasion when goddess Parvati, we have this goddess Parvati. Goddess Parvati gave Murugan, because Thaipusam is associated with the Lord Murugan. So when goddess Parvati gave Murugan the veil, we call it the veil, the spear, that the one that our Lord Murugan is holding, the spear, so he could vanquish the evil demon, Surabatman. So he was like fighting an Asura, he was like fighting a Rakshasa, Surabatman and his brothers. So, but he couldn't kill him at the point. So that is where the Shakti, we call it the Parvati, she comes with all the energy. She put it in under one spear and presented to Lord Murugan. That is the occasion that we're celebrating Thaipusam. But actually, the philosophy behind it is actually is that you so talking about the ignorance, you're talking about all these, the bad qualities that you have. So actually, Thaipusam is a symbolic of saying that you have to fight the demon inside you with the knowledge. The spear, the veil, is actually representing a knowledge. Means that he says that in order for you to fight the ignorance that you have within you, or the bad qualities that you have within you, you have to be like very disciplined. First thing. Second thing, you have to acquire the right knowledge. The knowledge, they describe how the knowledge should be. The knowledge should be, they said, it has to be very deep. It's like if you look at the spear that the Lord Murugan is holding, it's like very deep and then very broad but very sharp. So it representing that your mind, that full of knowledge, should be very deep. You have to have a very deep knowledge. You have to have broad perspective of knowledge, but you have to have a sharp mind, sharp knowledge, so that if you have this three, you actually can overcome the darkness or the bad qualities that you have within you. That's why you see people, the penance is about, sometimes they use this as an opportunity for them to say thank you to the Lord, whatever they they require, they might achieve something, so they wanted to say thank you. But some people, they actually go in an advanced stage. They would say that, okay, I want to get rid of this bad quality, and due to that, I will fasting, and then I will pierce myself body, and these are individual thing. It is not required in the religion or the scripture doesn't require that, because in fact, if you look at the Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, Lord Krishna says that you should not torture yourself in order to pray to the God, because the God doesn't require that. It's just that the love that is required, that is written in Bhagavad Gita. So what the people is doing is actually, it's the way they show their love to the God. Okay, they say that the pain, they can take the pain because I want, I'm thank you to the Lord. So that is actually Thaipusam all about, Father.
So it's a kind of a sacrifice that they make. It's a sacrifice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. Father Xavier, over to you.
Murali, as I see you, you're having this I think the ashes we call. I think
Yes.
you, if I'm not wrong, you call it vibhuti.
Yes. Right.
Tirur, I think yeah.
Yes.
So this
Holy ash.
vibhuti reminds me of. I also have seen this more in India, where some people have this. You have this horizontal, and some have
Right.
this put in a vertical way. So this, and I was made to understand this is still, there are some followers of Shaivite followers, Shiva's follower of Shiva. There are other followers of Vishnu. So they call them as Vaishnavites and Vishnu followers, So maybe you could share a little bit. Maybe are there only these two groups, or maybe there are more, because the many sects that have been practiced, I think, So I wouldn't know this. Maybe you could enlighten us a little bit more on these two, or even more, whatever. What other sects, that major ones that you have, that, or even there maybe more than that. Maybe you could share a little bit on that, Murali.
Definitely, Father. As I said just now, the God, for us, the Hinduism, we believe God is only one, the supreme being, and it's all manifested. That's how they call it, like Egan and Egan. Egan means is one in Tamil. Egan means is one, and Egan means it takes different forms. So means that it doesn't take different. It is not a different entity. It's all from one entity, but it representing different forms. Okay. When it comes to these groups, in Hinduism, actually, we have six schools of thoughts. We call it six school of thoughts. We have Vedic, we have Siddhantam, we have different school of thoughts. But within that, these groups are like what, Father, you identify. We have six major groups. We call it Margams. Margam means is path, six different paths. This was given by Saint Adi Shankaran. We call it Adi Shankaran. He gave to us this different, because he believes that, of course, God is one, as I said. But then, if you want to understand in that form, it's not like very direct, and it's very easy to understand God in that form, because as we believe that we cannot understand God in just one birth or one life, because it is like it's very impossible. But God himself has manifested in a different form for you to understand. So you started from there. That is like a kindergarten for us, in the form. God's take a forms for you to understand them, and for you to understand the philosophy. Then you can move into some. So the six groups are actually, the first one, I don't say it's largest, but many people are following this. That is what we call Saivites, or Saivism. We call it Saivism. Saivism, for this Saivism group, the main deity, or the Brahman, as I said, the formless, the absolute truth is Shiva. For them, it's like Shiva. And we have second group is Vaishnavism. Vaishnavism is Vainavism. We call it Vainavam. Vainavam, they feels that the Brahman, the absolute truth, is actually Vishnu, Mahavishnu. So for them that is the supreme deity for that group. Then the third group we call it Shaktam. Shaktam means it representing the Shakti. We call it the female Rupam, the female structure of the god. So Shaktam. Shaktam, for them, the supreme deity is Shakti, we call it. And then we have the fourth one, Ganabadayam. Ganabadayam means you take Ganesha, the elephant god, as the supreme deity. So for them, they believe that the Parabrahman is actually Ganesha. Then we have Kaumaram. Kaumaram, we call it the Murugan. They feels that the supreme deity is Murugan. And then the last one is Saumaram. Saumaram, it's representing the sun. So some of them, they believe that sun is actually the supreme deity, because it's like formless and so kind of thing. So these six are the major group of we call it the sects within the Hinduism.
If I may ask you, Murali, in Malaysia, the followers of which group are the dominant group? Is there one in Malaysia? I mean, to help us understand.
The largest one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Father.
Or is it a mixture? Yeah.
Yes, mixture. Yeah. Okay. In Malaysia, it is more like a kind of like mixture. But then, I wouldn't say major one, but the sect that has more followers is actually the Saivism.
Okay.
So Saivism is like a prominent one among the others. But the common understanding is that everything comes from one supreme being.
Sure.
So it's just that they believe that the supreme being is in this form, the Shiva form and the Vishnu form, and they're not wrong, because see, as I said, it could be in that form, because the gods comes. It depends on your maturity, your understanding, your love. That's all for that.
Yanaswari, I would ask you, today the world the world is so much revolutionized, and women are in the forefront in every sphere of life, and in corporate sector, and everyone, women are fighting for more rights and all these, and that is in the world as it were. And I think it is also in the sphere of religion. I mean, in Hinduism, how do you? It's best to ask you this about women's role. Women's role in from the perspective of Hinduism, how women are viewed as a role taken in the family and in society. Could you share a little bit on that? How are they viewed by Hinduism and at large? Yeah.
Okay, sure, Father, because I have to be proud to explain about this question. Okay, traditionally in Hinduism, women is the purest soul. And a woman's role has been seen as supporting family life, including
Yeah,
playing
I'm
an
getting a bit
important
jealous
role.
now.
Now, is Murali going to refute that and going to fight back, or he's going to say, or he's going to keep quiet? He's going to agree with you.
I
Okay.
have to keep quiet.
Okay, so playing an important role in the religious activities of the family, especially. So that said, all women have different roles because of their Varna Sharma Dharma, meaning which is their duties depending on the stage of life they are at. So the Vedas hold human in a high esteem and address them as a Dharma Patini, one who promotes and preserves the rightful conduct of life. So traditionally in Hinduism, a woman's role has been seen as a supporting family life, including playing an important role in the religious activity of the family. So other than that, uh, I think the role of Hindu women in the family has changed greatly over the time due to many factors, including globalization and the impact of Western cultures as well. So, in many modern Hindu communities, is accepted by many that men and women has equal worth. So, a Hindu woman might choose to pursue a career and be the person who earns the most money in the household. So importantly, who are mothers have always been highly respected and seen as having great worth in Hinduism. So that said, all women have different roles because of their Varna Sharma Dharma, which is their duties depending on the stages of life they are at.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
over the time, many Hindu women have stepped forward to promote the rights of women, and many charities have worked hard to raise awareness and promotes the well-being, inclusion, and rights of the women. So one of the example I would like to tell in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna pointed out to his disciple Arjuna that women are as worthy and as capable as men of achieving liberation. So that's
That's
the
really very interesting point that you have brought out. I always see in movies, especially in Tamil or Indian movies, women, seem to be taking a back seat, and the man, seem to be the macho, the male one who is riding the horse in front, And is this what you have just shared is so beautiful? But in reality, how is it being practiced? Is that happening in the Hindu circle of people among Indians, or is it still some struggle going on? Or maybe you just share a little bit, at least in Malaysia, how do you feel? Your own
okay.
experience, a little bit, yeah?
So again, I have to be proud because maybe I can give myself as an example. So I'm married. I'm having a baby girl, 2 years old. So I'm here to present about the Hinduism. So one of this is the good example that my husband is supporting me. So he doesn't dominate me. No, you have to be a housewife, be a mother for your children. No, he guide me. No, you go ahead. So that's the one of the good example I can give you, Father.
Excellent. Thank you. Other Clarence.
I think when we talk about the roles of men and women in society, I often say, we always talk about equal rights, but very rarely do we talk about how one gender complements the other gender. Of course, we all have our strengths, whatever gender you are, isn't it?
So,
I mean, yeah, some, I mean, I don't want to stereotype here. I mean, we all have different talents. We all have different gifts. But I think in society, everyone has a particular role to play. and that's what makes society. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it? Not every puzzle can be the same shape and same size. It must be different. It kind of fits into the whole kind of a plan of society. So I always believe that it's not so much about equal. You have to be equal, because an equal puzzle can never fit. But different shapes, that we all bring different talents into society. And like Yanis, what he's saying, you have your strengths, you have your talents. I'm sure your husband has got his own strengths, his own talents, and you complement one another. I'm sure Murali also is the same, isn't it? I mean, so talking about women, I just want to very quickly move to maybe young people today. One of the ideas is that young people are not interested in religion. It's a kind of a common statement, a sweeping statement is made. Did you see that in Hinduism, at least in Malaysia? Let's look at Malaysia, or maybe we can't even look at Malaysia, but maybe in your own locality, Murali, where you the temple that you frequent, you see young people interested in this path, or are they distracted by all the external influences that, like Janiswari said, Western mentality that's coming in, that is also leading them on a different pathway?
Yes. Before that, Father, I just want to add one thing, like what on the question that the Father asked just now on the woman role. If you notice that
I somehow knew you're going to come back to say something about to defend them, to defend against Yaniswari. Never mind, we let her have it.
But then, see, the concept of the gender equality is shown. For example, we in our Hinduism we talk about the Lord Shiva. Actually, Lord Shiva, for many of us, it's like a supreme being. He has given his half of his body to a woman. That's why we call it like Arthanadishwara. Arthanadishwara is a half man and woman. So it's to show the philosophy behind it, because every image, every structure of a god in Hinduism, it tells a story behind it. You have to understand the philosophy. If even the Ganesha have a different story. So like this Arthanadishwara, it shows that woman and a man are in equal form, and there is no doubt that they're capable of doing things, and then capable of achieving the moksha. And we have so many women saints we have in our Hinduism. We call it like Avayar, Karaikal Ammayar. All these people actually attain moksha in a path. So just to like that, and comes back to your question on the young. It's very challenging, Father, nowadays, because you see, I still remember. Of course, I cannot compare the era of fathers. Like you and myself. I'm in the 80s. At that time, we still believe that our parents will be telling us, "Hey, it's already like 7 o'clock. You have to go and take your bath, and then perform your prayers." And then we will be, we'll just go take bath, and then come back and do the prayers. And then sometimes they say, "Hey, today is Friday, so you have to go to temple." So we'll just obliged, we will go. We don't ask questions at that time. Nowadays the kids are different. The young ones, when you ask them, when you tell them go to the temple, they will ask, "Why should I go to the temple? Is it not enough if I pray at home?" You see, like this pandemic time, these are the realities that I'm facing, we all are facing. They said, "See, during the pandemic time, we are at home, we are praying at home, the temples are closed, but the gods didn't come and punish us and say that no, why you didn't come to the temples." No. So they started to question the fundamentals of the religions. They're asking, "Why is this? Why you have to be a vegetarian? If I'm not a vegetarian, are they going to say no, you cannot come to me?" Is that the kind of belief? So they question each and every rites, practice, and ritual. So one, we believe that if you give a proper explanation, and the explanation must be logical. So now you are taking a religion in a very logical path. Because those days, yes, we can tell, "Oh, you see the story, the tales, the Skanda Purana or the Bhagavad Gita have said this, Mahabharata have said this," and we will be like, "Oh, yeah, we will question." But now, no. If you say Mahabharata, they say, "Tell me the truth. Is Mahabharata really taken place?" Their kind of questions are coming, because they started to, the maturity, they started to look at the different things in a different perspective. So they asked to, so we in a crossroad where we have to like explain to them, you see, this is why we are celebrating these, this is why we have to go to temple, now why the temple structure is such a way, the scientific explanations that we have to give behind of every ritual and practices. If you cannot give that, the youngs are taking a step back. They feels that no lah, it's not logic, I don't want to follow this, they go into that mode.
Yeah.
But to bring them in, the role of the parents also there, the parents have to like tell them, because they are the first source of teachers. The kids have to go and ask the parents. So they ask Appa, like my daughter will be asking, the first thing they ask, Appa, why we got a elephant god, we have this monkey god, we all the animals are gods. What are they behind? Is there really exist? So I cannot be telling, no, don't question, that is already is written in scriptures. They don't buy it.
So you are experiencing challenges with the younger people today compared to
Of
maybe
course.
your time and all that for them
Yes,
to come.
Father.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's something that every religion is facing, especially with the younger generation. Like you said,
Yes.
having to explain to them, because uh, a generation has passed when we just obeyed and listened. If you said yes,
Right.
if somebody said this is black, you say yes. Even though it's white, you say yes. But now they are asking questions. I want to come to something that we talked about in the beginning, towards the beginning. See, one of the tenets of Hinduism, the whole idea of reincarnation
Okay.
in Hinduism, and you said people come back in different forms. Can you try and just help us very briefly, Murali? I mean, this whole concept of reincarnation, and how does, or in what way does one work towards a good reincarnation, or what happens if there's a bad reincarnation?
Okay, Father. The thing is that in Hinduism, of course, we believe in a reincarnation, the death and reincarnation, but we believe that our goal is to attain moksha. That is the ultimate goal of a Hindu. That means that there is no rebirth for you. Your soul will merged with the Creator. That's what we believe. That is what we call attain moksha. And the reincarnation is that, because for us, death is a journey. It's actually a journey for us. That means the journey taken by a soul. This is very well explained in Garuda Purana. We call it the scriptures Garuda Purana. If we looked at Garuda Purana, it's very well written that the journey that starts after the body, passed, or after the body is over, because we believe that this body has restrictions. So when the spiritual maturity is taking place, your soul, the spiritual knowledge will be, much more bigger than your body. So you have to take a different form. So you let go this body, and you start a journey into a different reality. And there we believe that, because whatever that we do with our own knowledge and wisdoms and so on. So definitely there is sin, and there is, we call it punya, power punya. So, and based on that, the karma, this is karma. So we believe as karma. So whatever that we do, if you do good, the good things will going to come back. So if you do bad, the bad things are going to come back. That is the cycle of things. So what we believe that you take this karma, and then once you die, the angel, we call it the angel, the Lord Yama is, we call it the angel Malaikat Maut. You see, when come, the Lord Yama actually will look at your accounts in this world. So look at the accounts, look at your power punya, and then he will decide that, how you're going to go through all this power punya. So there will be, we believe that, because in Garuda Purana it says that the soul have to go through 14 places, where if you, let's say, you have done so many good things, you will just cross it in a very easily. If not, there will be a punishment and so on. Then you will go to, like, there's the concept of heaven and hell. So once you're there, once you have like almost like completed your task and everything, the power punya, then you will take a rebirth. So it depends on your spiritual maturity. So if you're at a higher level, you'll come back in a different higher level reincarnation. So your journey starts from there again. So it will take there to a different, until you achieve the knowledge or the moksha level. That's why we say among humans, among Hindus, some are at this level, Some are at the sage and the saints level. Some of them are like meditation and so on, because of the spiritual maturity that the souls go through. So our concept, to conclude, our concept of reincarnation is that you take birth until you attain moksha, and every birth will gives you a spiritual maturity. So you mature until you achieve that level, that you understand absolutely what is the absolute truth, and you will be merged. There is no rebirth.
Yeah. Murali, I would like to ask you, I
Yeah.
mean, in the world today, I mean, very specifically in Malaysia, we are in a racial country.
Mhm.
It is so beautiful, actually. It's so beautiful to have so many colors in this country, variety of food and lots of language and religions. And sometimes when we speak about faith, there seem to be a sense of prejudice, fear of conversion, fear of what the other is going to look at us, what we are feeling about the other. And amidst this, how do Hinduism, you see, like what we are having this AMEIA program, AMEIA basically stands to be able to reach out to the other faiths. You
Mhm.
know, how do Hinduism view and interact with peoples of other faiths in Malaysia today? Do they have this uh, avenue towards that, or what are do they have reservations? And how are you all seeing this as a possibility of enhancing greater relationship? Maybe you could share morally on this a little bit. Yeah.
Yes, Father. Shortly, Hinduism actually, we believe that living, there is a purpose for everybody to come in this world, even though you have a different faith. That's why I would like to quote a word, or say, or prayer that said by this Thiru Navukarasar or Thiruஞான Sambandar, all these saints. They have said that தென்னாடுடைய சிவனே போற்றி எண்ணாற்றவருக்கும் இறைவா போற்றி. That means they're trying to say is that தென்னாடுடைய means is the South India. It says that the God in front of me is actually Shiva, so I'm praying to the Shiva. But he says, trying to say, the people around the world is praying to one God. So that's what he said. தென்னாடுடைய சிவனே போற்றி எண்ணாற்றவருக்கும் இறைவா போற்றி means, we salute or we pray to the God, the ultimate creator. So that means it's like general for everybody. From that time itself, we already started to propagate, or we started to interact with people, because at that time, when these saints, as I said, this Tirumular, Thiruஞான Sambandar, all these 63 nine Mars and all these people were there. The major religion at that time was the Jainism, and then this is Buddhism at that time. Even some of the saints, actually they were in the Jainism first, then they come to the Hinduism, the kind of stories that we have at this current time. We have a lot of platforms and with a lot of things that we interact with a lot of other people from other faiths. We encourage that because we believe that, as I said, everybody has a purpose, and for us to understand the purpose. So we believe when we talk to, like, so for example, friends from Muslims or Christians or Buddhism, we believe we want to understand the path or the purpose of their existence of theirs from their perspective. And we encourage that. We actually encourage people. That's why we have a lot of dialogues. We are doing this lot of dialogues. Even the temples visits, we go and visit other temples and so on, because to um, promote the interfaith, the discussions and the interfaith understandings. So actually, we do have platforms. We do have a framework to do that, and to sit and discuss with everybody.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Just to add, sorry, Father, just to add one thing only last, I like to say, we believe in these things. We says that even though we have different rivers, it all goes to the one sea. So, and there is no difference between the sea. This sea, it's not merging with this sea. No, there is no like that. So, even though we have different parts, we are actually merging into one. So that is, we believe, the Hinduism believes that.
Now we have been speaking for now over 70 minutes already, and there is no way we can cover every possible angle of a particular religion. I'm sure both Nyaneswari and Murali, you have plenty to. I think that the most difficult part is to what to say and what not to say, isn't it, in a conversation like this? Because you have so much to say, you have so much to share. This is like a part of your life, and you are, we do apologize that we are having to cut corners a little bit, but I think what is important in this whole conversation is to help people to go and find out more. There are lots of questions people are asking. And of course, in a forum like this for an hour, Father Xavier, there's no way we can explain everything. But hopefully, this would kind of give people a little bit of encouragement to go and look for a friend, a Hindu friend, and ask more questions. Try and get to know somebody. Try to go and have a conversation with somebody. Now online, cannot do tetare or cannot do mama anymore. So online is always available. But before we go, just some questions, very simple, maybe requiring very short answers only. Just take some questions to engage with our viewers. I just want to take this one with Augustine. Maybe Nyaneswari, you can help us talking about Deepavali. In Deepavali, the question is like, is there a concept of asking for forgiveness? Because I know, like Hari Raya, there's Ma'af. They ask, is there a concept of asking?
It's like, yes, Father.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Actually, in Raya, they will be shaking hands, they will salam. That's a kind of a forgiveness they will show in the symbolic. But in our Hinduism, there is a understanding that we will be asked for forgive, but we won't like practically, Mom, forgive me. It's not like that. It's just understanding. So it's like Deepavali. It means like, okay, so maybe in a year, parents and kids will be having some misunderstanding. So if there is the Deepavali is one of the day, maybe they can settle the thing, come to an understanding, come to a situation that we unity the thing. Okay, this is the day that we forgive everything. So maybe you can do better than the next time. Maybe you don't repeat it next time. Even in the small kids also, the parents will be repeating. Okay, this year your studies you did like this. The grade will be like this. So from next year you try to improve yourself. This is the day the parents will take the opportunity to tell it nicely to the children. This is one of the so something like that. Okay.
Yeah, there is another question here. Perhaps Murali can help. I think it's coming from, for us Catholics, we have something known as Sunday school or catechism. Every Sunday, the children go to. Is there something similar in Hinduism? Is there a school, a weekly class that they go to increase their knowledge about the faith?
Yes, Father. We encourage all the temples to do this. We call it Samaya Vagapu. That means the religious class. So we actually, even if, for example, in Selangor, I encourage all the temples to have this class, 1 hour or 1.5 hours. Now, many of us, the Hindu Sangam, for example, we're doing online classes. Every, like, for example, like even myself, like Kajang, I'm doing this online class for whole Selangor, and it's especially for Kajang. Every Sunday, 8 to 10:30, we'll have a Vedic class, we call it. So every temple they have, every local council, every organizations, they're doing this Dharma class, the Sanatana Dharma class. So they have kids can go and
Okay.
to acknowledge knowledge.
There's another question here. Of course, I think the first part I think has been answered, but I think this is a common misconception with among many people. Of course, I think you have answered about the different temples and all that. The whole idea, with no offense to anyone, I mean, like, is Sai Baba part of Hinduism or is it something different? Because sometimes people are confused. They don't know the difference. For somebody from outside, they don't know the difference. Is this a question you get very often?
Of course, Father. Of course, even many of our Hindus themselves, have this question. Actually, just to recap, it says that we Hindus only believe in one God. That's the absolute truth. But we believe that the gods takes different forms. We understand that the God have created so many creatures. I don't know whether it's just Earth or there is any other parallel universe. There's so many creatures. Don't tell me that the God cannot take any forms. He can come in the human form to teach us how to live in this world. That is how we take the human form. So, like, for example, Krishna taking the 10th avatar to show. But And for we also believe that there, as I said, the saints and the sages and these gurus, we call it, there are gurus that will come at a different time just to reiterate the teaching of the God. For example, they to tell them, okay, now see the people you are now doing, now you are going in a different path. Please come back to the right path. To show you the right path, you need the teacher. That means the guru. So Sai Baba, for example, Sai Baba, even some other gurus like Raghavendra and all these are, we believe if they are gurus, that they actually promote the teaching of the Vedas or the scriptures and the teaching of the God. So we believe that they came here to the world to show you that, look, now you are deviating from what it's supposed to be. Please come back. So these Sai Baba all are gurus, and we that's a misconception that we are worshipping these gurus. No, we are not worshipping these gurus. It's like the gurus are someone that's why we call it in Hinduism, we say it Mada, Pita, Guru, Deivam. Mada means is mother. The mother actually will tell you who is your father. Actually, so the Mada, Pida means his father. Then Guru. Your parents have to show you the Guru for you to acquire the knowledge, the right knowledge. And with the right knowledge, with the guidance of the Guru, you will be understanding about the gods. That is the Deivam. So Mada, Pida, Guru, Deivam.
Yeah. So I think that's quite a lot of things we have covered quite a bit for the Xavier. We have done. Thank you so much, Murali and Yanis, for your willingness to share. And I think that's very important. The willingness to have a conversation. I think what is important about in terms of interreligious dialogue is it's not so much about comparing what you do, what I do, and who's right. It's not about that. It's about trying to understand what you do, and you try to understand what I do. And I think these conversations must continue. We must perpetuate this conversation so that when we understand and we know, we are able to respect one another and not have prejudices and not have biases towards certain groups of people. I think that's very important when we live in a multicultural society. Just to kind of conclude, now we are in this period between Hari Merdeka or Hari Kebangsaan and Hari Malaysia. This is the month we see a lot of the spirit of Malaysia being made known through advertisements, through you saw a song at the beginning also. Just want to pose this question to both of you. Both of you are somewhat religious leaders in your own right. What are your hopes for Malaysia?
Yeah. Maybe Ganeshwari. Ladies first.
Ladies first, is it? Ladies first, and the men wants to have the last say. Anyway, so
last long say. Okay.
What is your hope for Malaysia? Yeah. What
Okay,
is your prayer for Malaysia?
we already developing the religious tolerance in the Malaysia. It's mean, okay, one of the example will be Thaipusam. Thaipusam is a very big festival where the whole state will be covered, and there are a lot of other religion, they're accepting and they tolerant with the festival. It means it will take a lot of places, time, roadblocks, and everything. So there is no such thing. It's been years we have been celebrating the Thaipusam, and there is no such thing. Other religion been complaining. No aduan on Thaipusam. They accepting, they tolerate with the thing. So one of the thing that I hope this religious tolerance have to be more developed, and it should be keep up with the Malaysian. That's all.
Yeah, Murali, what are your hopes, dreams? What is your prayer for Malaysia?
Yeah, a very simple and straightforward, that we are living in a multi-religious country, and that is the strength that we have. So my hope is that each of us, everyone, has to promote the understanding between the religions, because this is the fundamental. We comes together, we are fundamental, we are different faith of people. So we have to bridge the gap, like what we are doing right now. We are bridging the gap without sacrificing our own fundamental understanding or the knowledge or the rights. See, by doing this, we are not asking people to follow this faith and that faith. No, that is a different, that is an individual one. But what we are actually in terms of when it comes to country, we are trying to promote this so that the people will have a more understanding about each other, and they like kind of like juggle the sensitivity of every religion. See, because we all have a different purpose, and we are in that journey, but don't mix it and don't uh, put it like one and another, and then say that uh, I would, yeah, to put it in a simple way, say that don't kachao the harmony that we have lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
Murali,
is our strength, isn't it? The harmony that we have shared, the peace
Yes,
that is really our strength. That is really our foundation of Malaysia,
exactly.
unity. And I think that's what marks us out. Now, before I hand you over back to Father Xavier, just to thank both of you. But before I just want to Yaneswari was talking about religious tolerance, and I always cannot resist the temptation of saying maybe we need to change that word. Change the word to religious respect. You know why?
Respect, okay.
Because tolerance means that I disagree or I don't like it, but I will tolerate you. It's kind of a negative connotation. So
Okay.
I always try. I hope you don't mind, but it is always
okay.
my wish that we learn how to respect one another
Respect.
Exactly.
and learn to appreciate one another. I think that's what we really need. And I think this whole forum is about appreciating your neighbor's faith, appreciating your friends. Because I think Father Xavier and I, we talked in the first show, we went to a same school, both of us in the same school, we were in the same taman, we played football together, and all our friends were all different religions. And we were one big happy football family.
Family.
Yeah, I think that's what keeps it. Thank you very much, Murali. Thank you very much, Yaneswari, for taking time to be with us.
Thank you, Father.
Over to you, Father Xavier.
thank you, Father Clarence, for the wonderful sharing that our two guest speakers had. When Father Clarence was sharing about games, football, I think football is not only football, all games. Sports is one that unites people, ironically, but I think it should go beyond that. I think in all respect, like what Father said, tolerance is just trying to accept the other. But the word respect, acceptance, and these are things, more beautiful words, and harmony, all this could engage us in a better way towards with each other. And I think the acceptance in other. You are different, but I accept you. You are different. I admire you in spite of your difference and my difference. You admire me. I admire you, and that'll be where the acceptance comes in also, and respect. Husband and wife are so different, but you respect each other, right? One may like nasi lemak, the other one may like rendang, and yet, or may like sambar or whatever, and yet you accept each other, and you end up not tolerating, accepting, and eating together. You see, so that's beautiful. Yeah, as we have just shared, both Yaneswari and Murali and Father Clarence, maybe the hope that you mentioned, which Father has raised, maybe we could do that at the end with a little prayer. Maybe both of you together with Father Clarence at the end could end up with a little prayer. And before that, I would just like to thank, on behalf of AMEIA, I would like to thank Catholics at home, and Alex is at the back end, who has been doing a good job for all of us. And not to forget my team from the Hindu team who were preparing all these questions, who were organizing and putting together: Angeline Lesser, Rita Wong, Teresa Uy, Henry Jacob, and Asir Badam. These are the team who are working at the back. And AMEIA, of course, and not to forget our great moderator, Father Clarence, for the evening. And very specially, I would like to thank Muralidharan Paramaswa and also Janeswari Selvakumar. I hope I pronounced your names correctly. Okay, wonderful to have had you on show tonight, and you have shared beautifully. As Father Clarence has said, the time is not enough. People may have more questions. Probably we'll have another segment coming on later on, if people are asking for it. And we thank you. We really wish you well, and to all our Hindu friends who are watching here, and to all others, our Catholics and everybody else who have been watching. We congratulate you. We don't thank you because you are watching us. I don't know, you've been having your coffee or warm water, as I said earlier. I think whichever the case, you have been with us. So we thank you once again, and may we all be united in love and unity as God has designed for each one of us. And I hand over to Father Clarence and Gnanaswari and Murali to end up with a short prayer.
So just before we close with the prayer, now if you have enjoyed this conversation, you can share this conversation with your friends, your family members. You can go to our Facebook, Catholics at Home, or YouTube, Catholics at Home. This recording will be up there already after this live show. Do share it with others, your friends. Send them the link. Don't forget to subscribe also. It's very important to subscribe. You know why? If you go to YouTube, the bell sign, you must press the bell sign, because we have different programs coming up throughout the year, and you'll be notified. That's the advantage of pressing the subscribe button, that when we post a new program, like this Friday, we are having one session. Next Saturday, we are having session. Tuesday, we have another podcast conversation. So you'll be reminded. So don't forget to press that like or subscribe or follow us on Facebook too, and share this conversation to as many people as possible, both locally and internationally, because we must spread this good news that Malaysia has something to offer, that we can sit together and we can talk together. And that is what makes Malaysia unique and beautiful. And so before we go,
Next week we have another session with another interesting theme, another 2 guest speakers for that. So come on next week also.
Next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Make the date with us. Murali,
Father,
would you like to?
Yes, sorry, Father.
Sure.
We are taking this opportunity to say thank you to both of you and the AMEIA for organizing this wonderful conversation. This is something that we needed at this point of time. And really thank you on behalf of Malaysia Hindu Sangam. I would like to say thank you to both of you and the people behind the scenes, and also I'm taking this opportunity to thank our Malaysia Hindu Sangam, the management, our president, national president, Dato Sri Kasih Dato Rasmogan Shan, and the team for allowing us to come into this and then to say a few things to share some good news. And so thank you to everyone.
Send my regards to Dato Mohan. My regards to Miss Gauri also. We've been working together in MCC BHST.
Definitely. I'll say thank you. And also, I'll want to say thank you to our state chairman, state chairman of Mr. Muniandi, because allowing us to go for this event. And I thank you, Ganeshwari.
Maybe one of you would like to say a prayer just to conclude, and then we will say a prayer also. Anyone? A short prayer for the country and for harmony.
Right. Okay. So we do have this small prayer. We're saying that. It says that. உலகெல்லாம் உணர்ந்து ஓதுக்கரியவன் நிலவுலாம் அழகில் சோதியம் அப்பளத்தாடுவான் மலர் சிலம்படி வாழ்த்தி வணங்குவாம். தென்னாடுடைய சிவனே போற்றி, எந்நாற்றவர்க்கும் இறைவா போற்றி.
So dear Lord, we thank you for this conversation. We thank you for this opportunity to come together. Bless our country, Malaysia. Bless all its citizens, that we may always live in harmony and in peace, to learn how to appreciate and to respect one another. Lord, we ask you to bless the work that we do, and may this good news be shared with all, and that we may be able to bring peace in the world. We pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, everyone, and see you soon. Bye. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.